Hi, I'm back. This is fun doing these podcasts, so I thought I would come back and do another one this week. I don't know if it'll be an every week thing so far. It has been for the last 3. And I'm really enjoying the interactions with people. The comments are awesome, so please comment. It's just really fun to know that people are actually watching it and to make relationships and friends. And anyway, so I'll start out with I'm Amy Knerr, and I am the indie dyer behind Pancake and Lulu yarn. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking me out. So I want to start off with my first finished object. Actually, I think it's my only finished object this week since the last time. I am super excited. I finished my Love Note sweater. I love the way it turned out. It's using my hand-dyed yarn and holding together Love Letter, which is a yarn I dyed for this sweater and for Valentine's Day, and Surrey alpaca in Surrey alpaca lace in my bone colorway. But I just want to show you up close. It looks really pretty. It's amazing how much this tones this down to hold them together. I dyed up for myself, I did the size small, and I had 2 skeins of each of these and held them together. And this one, I have probably about half a ball left. And this one, I was getting really close to the end, so there's not much left of the second ball of the Surrey. Oh, my dog is barking. I'm back. Yes, Dashel just came in. Dashel, you want to come over here and say hi? No, don't walk across the table. Come on. Oh, well, he might come later. At some point, I'm sure he will make an appearance. Oh, don't bark. He's been so barky lately. No, Dashel, quiet. He doesn't understand what the word quiet means. I don't know why I keep saying that to him. He understands no, and he actually listens sometimes when I say no about barking. He's like kind of a teenagey, 6 months old. Is he 6 months old? Yes, he's 6 months old now, and he is just entering that kind of defiant period where he's starting to understand that he doesn't have to do everything I say. I mean, he's really a cutie, but he's starting to be a little bit more teenagery. This is Dashel. Say hello. Say hello to everyone. Yeah, this is Dashel. He's so cute. He's half beagle, half Springer Spaniel, we think. We know it's some sort of Spaniel, and we think it's Springer because his sister looked just like a Springer Spaniel. We got him from the shelter. There's a huge overpopulation problem at the shelters in the south part of the U.S. and I think they're kill shelters. So all the shelters around here are not no-kill shelters. So they bring up animals that are there's just an overpopulation. So they bring them up here and find homes for them. And back to my Love Note sweater, which I'm so excited that I finished. I already talked about the yarn I used. I made the size small. I wet blocked it, and it definitely grew a little bit, which was perfect actually, because I was hoping, I was thinking it would. I didn't want too much positive ease, but there's a good amount. It's very loose and comfortable, and I just love the way it came out. Oh, the really cool thing about this was that it only took me 20 days to make this from start to finish. I mean, it was such a fast project. I'm totally amazed because I didn't actually just work on this. I also finished the tassels on my Advent wrap, and I finished, I started my sock. So it's not like this is all I knit on for those 20 days. And I'm just so happy it turned out this way. One thing I would say about it too is that I did make the body a tiny bit longer than the full length version. There's a cropped version and a full length version. I just felt like it needed, what happened was I just was knitting. And I lost track. It was going so fast that I realized I knitted about an inch longer, I think. But then I tried it on and I was like, this is good. Like, it's actually fine that it's a little bit longer. Sorry about the bark. Dashiell, quiet. And the other, I made the sleeves about 2 to 3 inches longer. I think they were supposed to be more like here, it looked like, but I don't like that like mid arm length really. I like this length, bracelet length, I think it's called, or full length. So I just went with making those about, I think I did it about 2 to 3 inches longer. And what else about it is, it definitely looks best with a black shirt under it because of this color of it, I should say. It looks best. If I made a dark one, it would be pretty cool to have a light shirt under it. It just makes you really can't see the lace that well if you're wearing, like if I'm wearing a tank top or something that's light colored, it doesn't work very well with that. One thing that was kind of cool though is that it is so airy. Like I was like, you could feel the breeze through these holes. So I think this would work well in several, many seasons. It feels very breezy when you don't have the shirt under it, the full length shirt under it. What else? I'm really tempted to make another one, I was gonna say, because it was so fast and it would be cool to make this in a dark color too. I think like a black version would be really, really cool. But then I thought about the ranunculus sweater that is in my queue by Midori Hiros. And it has a similar vibe to it. I'll put a picture up so you can see what I'm talking about. You've probably seen this sweater too. It's really popular, it's been out for a few years and many people have made it. It has a similar vibe with the large size needle. I think I haven't looked at the pattern that closely, but I think it's knit on a larger size needle with a thinner, like 2 yarns held together in the same way. So I might try that one instead just because it's different than this, because I've never actually knit the same pattern twice because there's so many patterns to knit. So I sort of figure like, why bother doing that? Okay, so that's my finished object and I'm so happy with it. I started a new project, my Every Bit Cowl, which is this pattern by Stephanie Lotven, and it's on Ravelry, and she is Tellybean Knits, and she also, when I asked her if I could use her photograph from her pattern for my podcast, she offered to give us a discount code as well, which was so nice. She's super nice. So here's the discount code. It's 50% off, I believe. I think it's through the end of March. And it's for this pattern, the Every Bit Cowl. So I started my Every Bit Cowl. I just I really wanted to just cast it on and get it going because things don't get done unless you start them. They don't always get done that way either, but at least they're more likely to get done. And this is a really quick knit. It's just 1 full skein of yarn, DK weight, and I am using my Cappuccino colorway, which is a really cool yarn because it's a semi-solid, but the way I love this color because it breaks when you dye it. Some dyes are much more stable, I guess, and the colors that make up the dye stay together, and others kind of break apart, the elements of the dye, the different colors that make up that particular color. So I don't know if you can follow what I'm trying to say, but this dye, it's a single dye that I buy. I forget the name of it right now, but I call this color Cappuccino, but I love the way it kind of breaks by itself, makes like its own speckle, leaving little parts, makes an uneven semi-solid. And I love this color. It's a very good neutral. It goes with so much. I thought that it would just be nice to do this I do a lot of really bright colors. Most of my projects use bright colors because I love color so much, but I just felt like it would be nice to have this as just a neutral piece. So we'll see how this, also I really think, because this has a lot of different stitches in it, some cable and different sections of stitches, that I thought it would be nice to do this. I didn't think a speckle would look as good. Although I looked on Ravelry and I saw a couple of really nice ones that had like a kind of subtle variegated yarns looked good with this. That's always a good thing to do, is look at what other people have done and then kind of see what you gravitate towards for the project. And I definitely gravitated towards the more semi-solid projects with this particular pattern. The pattern is so well written. The last pattern I did of hers also, it's just such a, it has charts, it has the written pattern. You can kind of go back and forth, whichever you prefer. I tend to like the written out instructions, although I really like to have the chart just to look at as an overview, to get a picture, kind of to see what you should be doing. But when I'm actually knitting, I like having the written words because my mind kind of works better that way, I guess. I can repeat it in my head and learn the pattern pretty well that way, I guess. I don't know. I wonder which is more popular. I know a lot of people really like the chart. I just don't know all the symbols that well, so I feel like I have to constantly check them. Let me know what you guys like down in the comments below, like if you prefer written out or to have the charts. It's really nice that when designers include both, I think. And so this is it's like a 7-page pattern, 8 pages. So it's really detailed. So if you want to get a discount on it, go to Ravelry and use this discount code that she has so generously given us. It's really nice to have multiple projects. I don't know about you guys, but I really love having multiple projects for different moods and different levels of paying attention. I don't really love projects that require a huge amount of attention. Like I like projects that have little bits that require some attention, and then there's a lot of plain. Like this project, it just required attention really for this part, and then the big majority of it was just the stockinette stitch, and it was knit in the round, so it was just knit and knit, and it was really nice. And that's kind of what I like. But I do like learning new techniques, so I like to have something in there that's a little different and does require some attention. And the other thing that I've been working on, my other work in progress, is my dragon fruit socks, which I definitely showed you last time. But I've gotten further. I turned the heel. This was like, so it's interesting to use that self-striping yarn. This is the yarn. I know for people that haven't watched my podcast before, I'm just showing it again. This is by, where's the name? Oh, Artistic Yarns by Abby. Artistic Yarns by Abby. And I got this at Vogue Knitting Live. And the cuff, I am using this avocado colorway. That is my hand-dyed yarn. And I was wondering if I would do that for the heel. But then when I got down to this part where where I wanted to complete the stripe and start the heel, I was like, well, I thought this isn't gonna look that great if it goes right into green, because it kind of interrupts the pattern that's going on. So I thought I have to do it white. And then I did this as a heel flap. So I didn't want to have it be like striped along the heel. So with this kind of yarn that's self-striping sections, I think I had to do it like 3 times. I had to cut the yarn, take out the colored section, then restart the yarn again with the white, just to get enough white to get to the point where this stripe in the front was about the same as these stripes. I think I actually did it a tiny bit longer, but I basically wanted to get it around the same width so that I could then continue with the stripes and it would just look better that way. I realized after I did this, I'm following this pattern. It's just a recipe, actually. It's from a podcast by Melody Hoffman, sorry. And she didn't write down the pattern. She just talks about it and writes it on the screen in a podcast that she did recently. And I found that really difficult. I thought it was a cool thing to do, kind of knit along with her, because I hadn't really done socks in years, but it's really tricky to do that because there's no written pattern. And there were times when I wanted to work on it and I wasn't sure, I couldn't remember exactly what I was doing because I'm kind of new. Well, I haven't done it in a long time, so I'm kind of new to doing this. So I've been writing out her pattern by following. I had to like kind of write it out myself, and I don't know. I don't think that's the best way to. It's not the easiest pattern to follow because of that. I don't think I'm going to do this heel next time I use self-striping yarn because I learned about a kind of heel that might be better is called an afterthought heel. So for my next pair of socks, I'm going to try that. And that's where you just keep knitting this color changing yarn all the way down to, I guess you figure out where you would want to start decreasing for the toe. And you then afterwards, you put in like a provisional kind of row. And then you take that out and you add a heel. So I'll see what that's like, but that way it does not interrupt the front part of the socks pattern, which is the main issue that I had with this. So there are a lot of, since I had to rejoin it several times, there are a few places I'm gonna have to weave in ends, but it's not that big of a deal. And otherwise, I'm really happy that I'm moving along with this. So other things that I am doing right now in progress are I'm still figuring out the yarn for my Sorel Sweater. This is a Sorel Sweater. I talked about it last time and it's everywhere. Everybody's doing it, so it's kind of almost like a knit along in a way, I feel like. But I haven't gotten my yarn all dyed up yet. It's actually tricky for me to dye a speckled fade. Kind of learning as I'm doing this how to dye. It's not that hard to make a nice fade when you have a lot of yarn to choose from, but I'm trying to dye a fade, and I'm trying to use a new technique that I'm experimenting with this, but the speckles are kind of unpredictable with this technique. The depth of color is kind of unpredictable, so I'm not sure I'm going to continue using this technique. I did decide, let me show you guys what I decided on. I did decide on the mohair color first after looking at a bunch of, wait, let me see what's in my basket. Oh yeah. After looking at a bunch of the versions that people are doing, I decided I want to go with a dark mohair. So I have this really beautiful, excuse my nails, they really need to be redone, navy color that I do. It's called Definitely Navy. And I decided it's going to be definitely navy for me as the color that I'm going to carry along for my Sorrel. And so I think I'm going to need 2 skeins of this. And this is a mohair silk blend, just like the original pattern calls for. Then I dyed this as the lightest color, which I thought would look kind of similar to the original. The originals, it's the mohair is green, but I think this would look pretty because I think all these lighter parts and the pops of color will shine through when held together. I can't wait to do a swatch, so I'm gonna do that. Anyway, this has several colors in it, and I think this will be really fun held together with the navy. Then I dyed this color, which I love too, which is it's very similar to this. It has the same colors in it actually, but it's just got a lot more navy in it. And actually all the blues that are in this one are in this, but darker, like more of it. So this is like the dark, I think this will be the darkest of my fade because it's so dark. And this will look really pretty held with the navy for sure. But it'll be more subtle. It'll be definitely more subtle. You won't see all of the, I'm thinking like the parts that are navy will just blend together and then the lighter parts will still come through when held together. So that's my lightest and my darkest. I had a little trouble coming up. I did do some experimental skeins. I mean, they were all experimental. But the ones that I did for the medium, like in between these, I want to have 2 in between this, I think. Either that or maybe a lighter than this one. This is definitely the darkest I want to go, but I want 2 in between. The 2 in between just didn't come out enough in between. Like they're a little more tending towards the dark side. They're really, really pretty. I think I'm just gonna have them be skeins that I will probably just sell as one-of-a-kind skeins. That's the really nice thing about dyeing my own yarn and having a shop, is that I can really experiment and then just have, you know, put a couple skeins that didn't work out into my shop, because they're still beautiful. They're just not what I'm looking for this. So what my mission is this week is to dye 2 more colors to go in between these 2. And we'll see how that comes out. I will show you that next time. Anyway, so I think this is going to be, so far, this is my Sorel sweater so far. And that's to be continued. I wanted to show you guys something that I have not worked on for many years. It was something that I looked on Ravelry to see when I had started it. I had started it in 2014, and I had put it into hibernation. I don't know when, but I didn't work on it for very long. It was, way back then, I was really into buying Noro yarn, which I love Noro yarn. It's beautiful, but it's also not the softest yarn. But I did find this yarn, which is called Nadeshiko, and it's beautiful. And it has 40% Angora, 39% wool, and 21% silk. So it's like it's still rustic feeling a little bit, but it's very soft because of the Angora. And it's also got this really pretty hazy white sort of hairy fluff that comes off of it. And this is a gorgeous yarn, and I found it on sale. I do remember that I got it online and it was on sale, and I bought a whole bag, 10 skeins of it. And then I didn't really know what I was gonna make, so I decided to start making a throw back in 2014. So I started just knitting every row and making this, it's not that big, it's gotten big now, but I knit. I don't know how many skeins. I think it might be like 4 skeins now that are in here, because I think that would make sense for what I have left. And I then turned it, I knit, then turned it, picked up stitches, and started knitting in a different direction. So it's just a garter stitch. It's super simple. It's on 10.5 size 10.5 needles. And I picked this up again recently because I've been going to a few movies in the theater, and I decided that one of the things, I love going to movies in the theater. We have a great movie theater with one of those, it's like an AMC theater and has these reclining seats. So it's like you're sitting in a lazy boy recliner while you're watching this movie, and it's super comfortable. And I decided, it was like actually around Christmas time, I guess, that one of the things is like I'm excited to go to movies, but I often then think, oh, but I can't knit tonight then. You know, I'm not going to get very much of my knitting done, because every single night I love to knit. So I decided I'm going to get a project. I'm going to pull out an old project using up some of my yarn, because I was also thinking about the Stash Down 2020 idea of using my old yarn up. And I thought, I'm just going to knit like something really simple where you just knit every row. You can knit in the lighter parts of the movie. If it gets too dark, you could just pause, you know. And also I can knit very easily just if it's just knitting without looking, you know, very often, especially if it's a large size needle. So I thought, I found this project that was just languishing in my pile of other projects that are languishing. And I decided to bring it to the movies with me. And I think the first movie I brought it to was the Star Wars movie. And I was amazed that I could knit almost the entire movie. I think I just paused when I would get a little tired, but it was so exciting that I could knit while I was watching a movie at a theater. So I then went to, like a little while after that, we saw Little Women. The other night we saw Knives Out. So each time I've brought this and I've just worked on it, and I've been getting further and further. And it's so nice. Yes, people do look at me. It's a little like, they're kind of like, what's that lady doing? But I don't care. I mean, why would I care about that? I think, you know, if anything, they probably think I'm just really, really cool. Anyway, it's so cozy to have this like blanket on me. I was noticing how big it was getting in the last movie. It was like a blanket, and I was like snuggling on this recliner, watching this big screen movie, knitting away, and I was so happy. So I'm super happy that I realized I could do that, so that I don't now hesitate when my family's like, let's go to the movies tonight, and I don't have to think, oh, but I won't be able to work on my project. I'll be like, oh, I can work on this. So I'm very excited. It's going to be really large because I still have several skeins of this left. So we'll see how big it gets, but you know, a blanket is so nice because it doesn't have to be a certain size. So I'm just gonna knit, and I'm actually thinking now I'm gonna turn this again because I've got two sort of similar sized rectangles going two different directions, and I think it's time to turn it this way and knit a section coming off from it. Anyway, I wanted to share that in case, I wonder if anybody else does that. I've never seen anyone doing it. I haven't been to the movies with knitting friends. Knitters bring their knitting everywhere. This is not a project I would be able to bring most places, but I just bring it in a large bag I have to the theater, and it's great. It's great. So happy that I figured that out. In the I don't know if I'll do it in the summer if it's giant, but usually movie theaters are cold anyway. So that's my movie knitting. I'm gonna call it my theater throw. I love Stephen West, and I love his, particularly the shawls, and particularly, well, not particularly, but he has a lot of amazing shawls. I want to knit more of his shawls, and I have knit, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if I've knit 10 of his shawls yet, but I've knit like more than 5, I'm sure. So I don't know how many, but I usually do his mystery knit along, and there's one shawl that's really spectacular, and I didn't do the knit along that year. So what I'm talking about is the Speckle and Pop shawl. It was the mystery knit along from 2017. And for some reason I missed it. I'm not sure why, but I just didn't join in that year. And I'm putting a picture up. I'm really excited to start this shawl. I love his shawls so much because they're just so interesting. Every single one I've learned something from. And, so that's another thing that's in my queue that I really want to cast on. My ideal thing would be to have a shawl project, kind of a small project, like a small accessory project, like mittens or a cowl, and a sweater. So, but now I'm into socks too, so I don't know. I think it's fine to have multiple things going on at once. They don't all get finished sometimes, but sometimes they do. So my feeling is like you're never gonna get it finished if you don't start it. So that's kind of my philosophy. And the other thing that's in my queue is, I was talking about my mustache yarn that I want to start my Valentine's socks. So that's coming up. I will definitely be sharing that soon because I think I'm gonna just cast that on Valentine's Day. That brings me to what I have gotten this week. I haven't bought any new yarn. I've got lots of yarn and I need to make yarn, but I did have a few fiber related Stashquasitions, I guess you would still call them. I don't know, I guess. Two of those things are right here. I bought these sock blockers. I was looking for I think these are so gorgeous. Aren't they pretty? I was looking for sock blockers when I went to Vogue Knitting Live, and I did see some. I was really looking for some of these really pretty, I think these are bamboo, laser cut ones, because I just think these are gorgeous. So I didn't see any that I was like in love with. I did see at the Katrinkles booth, she had these adjustable sized ones, which were not pretty, but they were very practical. And they were made out of wood as well. And I was tempted to buy those, but then I thought, I'm not probably gonna make socks for anyone other than myself, so I only need a one size. I don't really need them to be adjustable. And on Etsy, I found a wonderful place. I will put the name of it down here. But anyway, these are from Poland. She lives in Poland and she has an amazing selection on her Etsy store. And these only took a couple of weeks to get to me, like to be made and get to me, but they're beautiful, and I didn't need them right away at all. So I had trouble choosing, but I ended up picking these dandelions just because they're pretty. So that was one Stashquasition. The other thing that I got this week, might have come last week, is the first issue of my subscription to Mollie Makes magazine. This is a British magazine that, I think it's British or Australian, it could be. I'm pretty sure it's British. I have over the years bought this from individual issues I've bought at Barnes & Noble. And I hadn't bought one for quite a long time, actually. And I still have them, and I save them because they're so full of projects and ideas and inspiration. And recently, I don't know where I saw it, but I saw that if you bought a subscription, it was really a lot less than when you like most subscriptions. It was a lot less to buy a year subscription. So I decided to treat myself to one just because I hadn't gotten the magazine for a really long time, and I always really liked it. And this issue came, and it is so, so inspiring. I'm not a doll maker. I have made one doll in my life, but the doll's pretty cute. But when I look through here, there are so many things that are inspiring. Like, I just wanted to share a couple of them. Like this punch needle coat is incredible. I've never seen punch needle. I've got a punch needle and I've got a frame and everything. And I made an adorable pillow. I'll have to show that sometime. Of a slice of lemon for my daughter. And it's really fast and really easy. I've never really seen any wearable clothes made from it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And just flipping through this, there are a lot of, I love reading the articles about artists and how they live, and they kind of do a little profile on their home, that kind of thing. Then I was excited that they had this, it's a pillow, a woven pillow by Rachel Denbow. I'm not sure, I think it's Denbow. She's an incredible weaver, but it has like step-by-step instructions, and I have so much yarn that I thought that would be sort of a fun project to try. I really want to try, I've been wanting to try weaving. I have tried weaving. I want to do it more, I guess. It's another fun way to use yarn. And there are just a lot of cool articles in here and other projects that, a lot of them use yarn. It always comes with, the fun thing about this, and I've never actually used one, but they often come with a little kit. So I think every month it comes with a little kit. So this little kit with everything that it needs to make it comes in this little envelope that just comes with the magazine. So I just feel like this is so inspiring and fun, and I love getting fun things in the mail. So I treated myself to that. I just want to go into like a quick shop update, actually. I have a brand new, okay, this is a spoiler. Because this is my club colorway for February for the members of my Ply Yarn Club. And it's also the same colorway for the fiber club that I have. So I dyed this colorway for February, and they're all out. But in case you haven't opened your package yet, or you've been away or something, if you are a member of my club, my monthly club, just don't look here if you haven't opened your package this month yet. Okay, here is, I'm going to insert a picture because I don't have any skeins like right here to show you. But here is a new colorway that I dyed for my club called Raspberry Truffle. And I loved it so much that I'm going to make it, at least for a while, it's going to be a regular, repeatable colorway in my shop. I don't know if I'll keep it all the time, but it's, I have new glasses, so they're kind of, I'm still getting used to them. This new colorway is, I think it's so pretty. I'm excited to offer this now to everybody, and hope that my club members love it. It is now available with a listing. The other two colors, another new color that I have that I did for the members of my club that prefer semi-solid colors, because I do have some members that don't want speckled or multicolors, they like semi-solids. So my club is, you can choose what you'd like to get. So I did dye this new color called Raspberry Sorbet that is goes perfectly with the Raspberry Truffle, but it's a semi-solid with this raspberry color, and here's a photo of that. That listing is up in my shop, and that will be a regular color that you can order on any of the bases that I offer. Also, I wanted to highlight the Cappuccino yarn that I used in my Every Bit Cowl, and I put a listing for that up with the Raspberry Truffle because it's also shows up in there and it's beautiful, and you can get this on any color. I mean, you can get this color on any base. So this is my bulky single base. I just love the way this, like I was saying, it's got a lot of different variations for a semi-solid. And this is my single fingering base. And I love these colors. I'm doing it in the DK that I showed you already. But those go perfectly with Raspberry Truffle as well. So if you're looking for coordinates with it, the new Raspberry Sorbet and the Cappuccino go beautifully with Raspberry Truffle, and they're all in the Valentine's section of my shop this week. And finally, the last part of the episode this week, I just wanted to talk about a little bit what's going on with my life. Not a huge amount. In the next couple weeks, I don't have a lot planned, but I did want to share that I became a supporter of the Fiber Shed New Jersey, which is I think it's a new chapter of an international, organization called Fiber Shed. They have a new chapter in New Jersey, and it's actually really not too far away from me. So I'm kind of excited. I as soon as I saw that they were so close and that they're local to New Jersey, also this new chapter, I thought it'd be fun to get involved. So I became a supporter. I think they're having an event in May that I'm excited to go to. Here is their website address in case you are interested in finding out more about them. So what else has been going on with me? I've been really into this audiobook that my son suggested I read along with him. He is reading it for his English class. He's in 12th grade. And it's called Educated by Tara Westover, and it's amazing. It's so engaging. It's a true memoir about a Mormon girl who's raised in this household that's they're survivalists, and they're really extreme, and they're really antisocial, and she never goes to school in her whole life until she is, I think, 16. She's and then she kind of cons her way into getting accepted to Brigham Young University. She doesn't con her way, but I think she's a little, I don't know if she tells him how old she is. I think she's only 16, or maybe she's 17 by the time she starts school. She starts her education, really, her broader education beyond what her family has taught her, which is not that much about the real world anyway. And so she starts life, and actually I'm at the point right now where she's just started college. So I can't speak to anything else that has happened, but the part up to that has been so exciting and so well written. It's an excellent story. It's really engaging. There's so much drama. Her family's really, really crazy. And it's been really fun to listen to and talk to my son about it too. So if you're looking for a good book and you've not read Educated, it is also has an excellent reader, which to me is super important. I love listening to audiobooks with great readers. I just think I can knit while I do it. I can drive while I do it. I can do dishes while I listen. I mean, it's wonderful. So I love audiobooks, but if the reader isn't good, that ruins the book. So the reader is excellent in this. And I've been watching on Netflix. I've gotten really into the show The Magicians on Netflix. It was slow in the beginning for me, but now I'm really into it. It's definitely fun to watch. I'm kind of hooked on it. I'm just watching it by myself because my husband would watch it with me, but he's been traveling a lot, so it's kind of like a show that I just started on my own. I think that's it for this week, and thank you so much for coming back and sticking with the podcast this long. And I really appreciate your subscriptions and your comments and your suggestions, and I've really been enjoying this this format. It's been really fun, and well, I'll see you next time. Bye. He's chewing on a bag. Dashel. And he's back on the bag. Okay, I'm back.